I just filmed one with my friend Aaron.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I dig. So we're recording, right?
Yeah, now we are. We're good.
Hello.
Wow.
Do we have a name? Do we have a name for this podcast?
No, dude, you can help me come up with one if you want.
All right, on the air, coming up with a name. I dig this.
Yeah, and then I invited Zach and Ryan and then my friend other Aaron.
Oh, I love it.
We'll see if anybody else shows up.
Oh, I love this. I love not telling anyone. It's just you're on a podcast. This is a great idea.
Wow.
We should call this Spur of the Moment podcast. I love it.
Spur of the moment. Okay, that's a good
Something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Spur of the moment, or I mean, if it's all you, it's like Omar the Great podcast. I don't know. You don't need to be too fancy with it, but come up with some cool stuff.
I was thinking like gratitude podcast sounds like too serious. Like it's not like colorful enough.
Right. I like where you're going with that theme though. I don't know.
The greatest podcast.
The greatest podcast. I like it.
Yeah.
You know, like how like the last podcast on the left, like I love that theme of like it's the last podcast, but you should be the greatest podcast featuring Omar. Yeah. I think that's great.
Wow. Okay. That's a good idea. Good job, James.
Good job to you for just being great. So there we go.
Dang.
Well, while we're recording right now, I don't know if you're going to introduce your guests, but hello, I'm James, and I'm in a band with Omar, and we've. Do you have like prompts what we're talking about, or we're just sort of going with the flow?
Nah, dude, it's just we're going with the flow. But James and I, we make music together and stuff. We dance around on stage, get sweaty.
We do. We get very sweaty.
Sell merchandise and just sing our little hearts out.
That's right. We do. All of that, all the above, for many years now. But you know, I think we go back many years. We go back to before the band was the current band, Pioneer Escape. We were in. We were playing in the same scene for a long time. I think I always remember first meeting you when you were in Daily Drive and you were on stage and you're wearing your whole arm was covered in fake like gas station tattoos. It's like my first memory of you.
Oh, good. It's a beautiful first impression.
It's a great
We're probably like 17 or 18 around then.
Yeah, we're like seniors in high school during that point. Wow, it's crazy to think how long ago that was. But no, that was a fun time. I remember that. Like, that was when the scene in Ventura County was really starting to pop off. And we were in the middle of that whole movement. And that
you guys
had a blast.
Band.
I mean, you guys were my favorite bands. I mean, I remember seeing you when I was Shaking Inside. And I was like, these guys are just punk rock as it gets. Daily Drive. And then seeing, you know, being able to be the bass player in that band and then being able to play a lot of shows and then forming with basically really only barely knowing Clifford. I swear to God, I didn't really know
let's
Clifford
invite Clifford to this.
We should. Let's send him an invite.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, really, like, I've probably told the story a million times, but, like, it's really came down to me running into Clifford on we're freshmen on Ventura College campus. He had been to some Shaking Inside shows, and I knew he was friends with Josh and Brian. And I knew Josh. Out of all the people in the band members first, I knew Josh. It was the first take that back. I knew Richard, because Richard's in the previous band I was in. But I knew Richard, but then we had been in a band previously before Shaking Inside, and we broke up. And then I met Josh, and I met Clifford, and then I knew Josh a little bit, and I knew Joey because we did a theater show. We did Beauty and the Beast together.
I want to hear your first impressions about all the rest of your bandmates.
Okay, so okay, cool. I love this. So let's start with Richard, because Richard I've known the longest since I was about 13 years old, 12. I've known Richard. I knew him and his brothers, and we all grew up in our church community together in Fillmore. And Richard and I grew up with his family, so I knew them really well. And then Richard and I were always close friends. And then it was in mid-high school, we were like 15 or 16. And then Richard and our friend Oliver Abbott, who Richard played drums apparently, and I had no idea. And then Oliver played guitar, and they were like, hey, we need a singer and a bass player. And I was like, I've never played bass before, but I play guitar, so I can figure it out. And then we all ended up jamming. And then before we knew it, we were playing shows. And then we just ended up, we're like that high school band that played house parties in some venues. We were like definitely like a house party band. And we had the blast. We were just, the whole time we were just hanging out, playing random shows and shit. And we had like the best time. So that ran its course. And then I did a theater show, which just so happened to be, this is going to be weird how life connects you with people, you know, like the same way we've connected, the same way how life is connected to me to band members, was that I did a theater show with Hannah, who is the singer of Shaking Inside, with her sister. Her sister played the leads in Hairspray. I did Hairspray. And then Brian, Hannah, and Josh, all three of them came to one of the shows, and I met them after the show. From there, Alyssa, Hannah's sister, told them, hey, James plays in bands as well. You should talk to him. Brian gets a hold of me out of nowhere and it's like, hey, I hear you play bass. Would you want to come jam with us? And little did I know he was grooming me to play bass for Shaking Inside. And then I learned their songs. And then Brian was like, we're looking for a bass player. Would you be down to join? And I'd be like, yes. And then and that's how I knew Josh, is that I got to know Josh through playing in Shaking Inside. And then Josh and I we were in high school and we did Beauty and the Beast at Santa Paula High School, a theater production. And that's where I met Joey. And my first impression of Josh was that he looked like a skater kid at the time. And he was just more like, always had like a backwards hat type of thing. And he was a really funny guy, he's still a funny guy. And back then he was same Josh. He was great. And then I met Joey. And Joey was, at the time, I thought he was a super scene kid, because when I first met him, he was wearing his girlfriend's skinny jeans, is wearing a Mice and Men t-shirt, and I thought he was a straight-up scene kid. But then he was like, oh, I never wear skinny jeans. I just wear my girlfriend's today. And that was my first impression of Joey. But we became really close. Yeah, during we became really close during doing the production. And then he randomly would drop to me, like, I didn't know this. I knew Joey for a good year before he even mentioned that he played. We shared the same like music we liked, but he never even mentioned he played bass. Out of nowhere. I'm playing in Shaking Inside this whole time, and then I meet.
So you guys were already tight before you actually played music.
We were definitely already tight before we started playing music. Me and Joey, and then during Shaking Inside, I have had in my mind to start this Plan Your Escape for years. And I had like the idea, I wanted like a pop punk post-hardcore band, because all my favorite bands were at the time specifically were like those type of genre. And then I mentioned it to Clifford, who I only had met maybe a handful of times, but I knew he was a good guitarist. And I heard that he liked Under Oath. And that was my only thing that I knew about Clifford, was that he's a great guitarist. He likes Under Oath. I'm like, cool. He must like that genre. So I met randomly. I remember specifically, we're outside of, the Ventura College Library, like the entrance, like right there where you go through the doors. Clifford and I just so happened to go around the corner and we see each other. And I'm like, Clifford, right? And he's like, yeah, James, you're in Shaking Inside. I'm like, yeah, you're best friends with Brian and Josh. And then we start talking. And I'm like, I'm thinking about starting this band. Do you like these bands? He's like, oh, I love this band. Do you like these bands? I'm like, oh, I love this band. Start something along those lines. And I was like, well, if you want to jam sometime, I would love to like start working on something. He's like, I'd be so down. And then that's where it started. We exchanged numbers. Boom. And then I randomly mentioned this to Joey. At some point we're hanging out and Joey's like, well, if you ever need a bass player, I play bass. I'm like, you play bass? He's like, yeah. He showed me some bass videos of him playing like System of a Down songs. And that's the first time I saw Joey play bass. He played some System. And I was like, he can play bass. So then I was like, all right, so random. So he was like, all right, I was like, do you want to like fill in and try playing bass? And he's like, yeah, I'd love to. And I was like, great. So, and then I hit up Richard, my old drummer from my old band. And I was like, Richard, would you be interested in playing with these guys? And Richard was very much like, let's go. I'm down. I've been missing playing shows. And he's like, great. So then I remember the first band practice was just me, Clifford, Joey, and Richard, and no one knew each other. I was the only link between any of them at the time. And so they're all strangers. And then the first practice, I showed them, I had already written the song Wake. And I showed them that song, and we played that song at the first practice. and then from there we just started writing stuff. But like that, like with the first practice, the first song we ever played was Wake, and that was the first song on the first EP, which was pretty
Beautiful.
cool. And then down the road, then Josh was really interested, and Josh really wanted to be in the band. And I remember at the time I was like, I don't know, should we do Screaming or not? And I was definitely like not sure if we should do
Oh yeah,
Screaming or
you
not.
guys had like a song out before Josh had joined, right?
We did. We had the next chapter, the first version of it out as a single, and Josh and Clifford was really pushing to have Josh be the screamer in the band. And then we had our first show, and we played till like we ended up playing at this community center in Santa Paula. We drew like 100 kids or so, so it was like a good packed show. And then we had Josh come and like scream like a couple of songs just because we're like, let's see how it turns out, and it was great.
What song
And
did he
then
scream?
he screamed a version of he screamed Scars, because I think we played Scars at that show, a version of it.
Yeah.
And then there's another song he screamed on that I don't think at the time, I don't think it ever became a finished song. It was like a demo, because a lot of the songs we played were demos, and then some of them actually ended up being like Wake, Next Chapter. We played like an Enter Shikari cover, I remember, but Josh screamed like a couple of songs, and it worked. It was like energy was there. And then by the next show, Josh was officially a member, and then which was dope. Yeah, and it worked. And then it was just us 5 from 2011 to 2015, right? Is that when you joined? 2015?
That sounds right. Yeah, 2015. That's yeah.
Yeah. And then it basically came down to when we started writing, as you knew, like coming around to where the idea of doing a full length was sort of like that's probably should be our next thing. Clifford was very much like, we need a guitarist we need a second guitarist because we need two guitarists.
I wanted to join for like 3 years. I mean like I've always like loved you guys, but then I remember like one time you guys played at Rock City, and I was just like, hey, like you guys want another guitarist? Like
I remember you even saying that too. Yeah, I mean, or I'm not sure if I was there, but Clifford or someone told me, whoever you told it to.
Yeah,
and
I think
that
it was probably you.
Probably me. I mean, I remember it planted the seed in me to where when we were talking about potential members, I was like, Omar said he'd be down to join. And we had about a handful of people we had in mind that Clifford was quote unquote auditioning. And but it came down to like everyone that quote unquote auditioned was good, that could play the material, but it came down also to who could vibe the best with us.
Yeah,
and
that's really important.
Easily, and everyone who really was in the handful of those people were like friends of ours and people who we love. But when we like who could just really fit into what we at the time at least wanted, it definitely came down to you being that person. And we're like, I think Omar would be the perfect fit, and you ended up being the perfect fit, and that's why and that's why. And then of course you're like, it's like almost like playing your escape. It doesn't feel right if Omar's not in the band, because now you are, like always have been a member. It almost seems, it's funny to think about pre you, because it's always felt like you've always been in the band now. So, which is funny to think about, because like I forget the time period when you weren't in the band, because it's always been like Omar's been there since the beginning, which you really have though. Like you've been in the scene, you've seen us at our first show, so you've really been there the whole time.
Yeah, like
really you have
for the first part.
It's true, because like Omar, you sold merch for us many times actually, so you've always been in the community anyways.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Like you guys were a dream come true for me, because you were like my favorite band. Like it felt like magic every time you guys were on stage, and I'm like, dang, I need some of that, you know what I mean? Or like that's the caliber that I'm gonna play at, kind of thing.
It's beautiful. And that, yeah, I mean, which is so beautiful you say. It's like, and it's awesome, because all of us were just trying to we always inspired to be like if I watched a live video of like Pierce the Veil, right? I was always like, we need to go on stage, we should be just as good as them. We should be able to like open up for them on a tour package, and no one should think twice about us being on that tour. We should be like fit in, professional.
Of course, we sound good. Your escape.
Yeah, it's cool. Exactly. It's always Plan Your Escape. It makes sense. There's, they're playing this tour. So like that was always our mindset. At least we talk about in the early days. And I'm glad that I genuinely believe we're at that caliber. I definitely believe we're at that caliber, and like, and I think that's something we strive. And then it becomes not like in the early days when we were young, it was more like, for me, it was always like, we're going to be just like, we want to be just as good to be able to fit on the tour package. And now it's more of like, I just want to be just as good just to be able to, for a musician to impress you guys. Like, and now it's not even about like who we could play with. It's more about impressing my friends, like impressing my band members and pushing us, now it's like that for me at least, which is even a more beautiful thing than it is trying to be like, be the professional band. You're just like, I just want to impress my friends. And I think that really pushes you even farther. So which has been great. So
the way I think about it, it's like what's gonna make my friends laugh the hardest kind of thing. As far as like,
I think it's important. I think I mean, if there's any, like, I think you could probably say this too, is like, for young bands out there, one of the most important things you can do for your band is to make sure you guys are having fun, because I think a lot of bands break up because a lot of them are being, there's a serious part of it too, but also make sure you're having a good time with your buddies, like you're all friends, like I think that's important. I think that's the true reason why Planetary is still around for coming on to a decade now. Like, the only reason I think is that we all genuinely like hanging out with each other. And I think that's really important for all bands. And I think for all the young bands coming up now, I think that's I think it's important to make sure you're just having fun hanging out with your friends when you're, because you're going to be spending a lot of time together. You're going to be writing, you'll be practicing, playing shows. Then when you're even driving the shows, you're going hours outside of your city, you're going to another state, you got to spend time with them. So make sure you're enjoying all the little moments, because that's the best time, I mean, my best moments are, obviously a lot of them are stage moments, but a lot of them are like completely off stage. Us going to a venue, us having a like 2 a.m. dinner at Denny's. Like, those are like the moments that really bring it together,
Heck yeah, dude. I have a very fond memory of us driving to Long Beach to go, like, I was gonna watch you guys, and it was with I think it was like Skylit Drive.
Yeah, Skylit Drive was the headliner. Skylit Drive
and
Parker's Tower.
Look who it is.
Oh, who's joining? Yes.
Yo.
Welcome
Daddy
to the
Zach's
greatest
here.
podcast.
It could be. How's it going?
Pretty good, dude.
Going great.
That's great.
Zach, what do you? I've been enjoying your TikToks.
Oh, have you? Thank you.
Oh my God, I need to follow you on TikTok. What am I doing?
Oh, get on there. What are you doing?
I didn't even know you had one. I'm about it.
I've got a TikTok. I'm gonna get you guys in my ears with my bougie ass. My phone.
Cool.
I can do this. Has to die so it can rise again.
Wow.
That's right. That's right.
Like a phoenix.
Did I jump in
Like
on the middle of a conversation? I don't want to take away.
No, we were sort of going through. We randomly started this podcast, and we were just sort of talking about the history of how we met each other, specifically like me and Omar, and then the band, and how that sort of came
Zach,
about.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
What do you remember about Shaking Inside? Like, what was your first impression of them? Like, why did they why are they I don't know, I feel like they've impacted me in a certain way. So like, how have they influenced you?
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time I met all the Shaking Inside dudes was at Epic in Ventura in like 2011, maybe 2011 or 12. And I remember just being like, it was just felt like a very unique sound that had a caliber that a lot of the local people we were playing with didn't have. And man, I just thought it was awesome. I remember everybody was really friendly too, because we were in like a really bad pop punk band at the time. And I thought it was cool that they were so nice to us.
That's so funny.
Dude, and like, to be real, the band we were playing in, Omar and I at the time, was really, really bad, especially at that time. Like, really, really, really bad.
But I was just saying to Omar how much, though, like, I remember the first time I saw Daily Drive live, and I think it was when the time Omar had all those fake gas station tattoos on his arm. But I remember. But I remember like being so into you guys though, because your guys' stage presence was better than any of the bands at that time, local bands.
Ooh, I appreciate that.
Well, easily, you guys had the best.
We
stage
got
presence.
down. Omar had the best of all of us though.
I mean,
Thanks.
both of you had great stage presence, and I remember one show. I think it was that show. We had to go on after you guys, and I do specifically remember me and Brian like going backstage, and then Brian being like, we gotta have some energy, guys, because they were really energetic. Brian was nervous. He was like, because Brian will get a little nervous, like, you know, like, and you know, we both do. And I know when Brian's like wants to put on a good show, like me and him will be in the backstage. He was like, all right, well, we're gonna bring it. We're gonna bring it. All right, we're gonna bring it now because we have to we have to follow up Daily Drive. So I do remember that. Yeah.
Dang.
James and Zach.
That brings me great joy.
Yeah, no, that was real. It was real. We're always like stoked. And then you guys were really nice to us. So we were just like,
oh, dude,
Drive, such sweethearts.
We were in awe of you guys is what it was. We wanted to be your friends. And look how that worked out.
Yeah, it worked out great. I mean,
we're all each other's dads now.
Well,
life's crazy. Life's crazy.
it's like a paradox.
It do be like that.
No, it's fun times. No, I love that. Those early days were really fun. And that's like right when the Rock City scene was just about to like start really popping off, or it was going through its next generation of I don't know, like a bunch of bands during that time started to really come up, and at least in that Ventura County scene.
It did pop then. Do you think the Ventura County scene is at all like the scope of what it was at that time? Because I mean, obviously I'm not a kid that's like looking, and I also don't live in Ventura County right now.
Right.
But I don't get the sense from like social media that anything is really going on locally in terms of like what we had going. And I know there's stuff, obviously there's music freaks and all that, but I don't see. Do you think it's like that at all?
Underground, it is, only because I've had experience, because I have this great sort of opportunity to see my brother, who's the same age we were during that time, in a band. So I have this weird insight on what's going on right now. So it's indie rock, and that's the huge genre right now. That's all the bands are indie bands. Here's what's different about what happened back in the day. We were blessed back in the day because we got venues. We actually got legit venues with sound systems, and that's something that I think now I take for granted thinking about it, because my brother Gus, he'll play community centers now with his band.
Right.
But I'm telling you, they draw just as much as crowds we did. And
it's kind of like it went full circle, right? Because I mean, that's what bands used to do in like the 60s and 70s. They'd go play not concert halls, but community venues in their area and just drag their amps and like shitty PA systems.
Dude, it's exactly, and that's what they're doing now again. That's like come full circle, because I ended up filling in on guitar for Martini Drive, which is Gus's band, and it's funny because Kelsey can also she came to the show. I arrive and there's this community center that's just packed. I'm talking with like high schoolers to early college kids. And we go on stage, and I'm sitting up, we're about to play, you know, like they're indie rock, surf rock, cool sound, and kids start moshing and crowd surfing in this cool community center, and it was nuts. I remember playing and looking over at Gus.
Sounds like the library,
dude. Yeah, it was weird. It was crazy. It was like the library, but think of like kids like push moshing and crowd surfing over each other in like a small little space like that. And then after the show, I told Gus, I'm like, dude, this reminded me of like, you know, back in the day in like the Rock City scene. Gus is like, yeah, man. He's like, kids are going nuts. Like, but we play shows like we play these little spaces, and kids are like moshing, crowd surfing. And I was like, so it was cool to see that firsthand and like what's going on. And it's cool. Kids are still going hard. They're not doing it in venues right now because unfortunately in Ventura County, at least, there's not many venues who are allowing those bands to play. So they're finding other ways. But you're right. It's like a full circle. It's a full circle. They're playing community centers. They're playing wherever they can.
Yeah, wild.
So it's not the same as when it was when we were growing up, because we were very lucky, because the
Dude.
venues were like, bring in all local bands. But
At the
it's
same time, they have the trade-off of not having 15 tickets at $8 to sell at a $10 show.
Dude, I
You
think
are
it was
very
important
much right.
that we went through that. It's like learning that kind of hustle. It's like, oh cool, like I'm gonna get people to come to my show, and I'm like building this entrepreneurial skill.
Yeah,
That's
we did.
true.
I think that's good. We did get to learn that like aspect of it. A central hub. Rock City was a central hub for that
Yeah.
scene. Whereas I don't think, at least according to my brother, there isn't a central hub. Like there's a bunch of little like spots that put on shows, but there isn't like a central place that like
They're
this
all as
scene
cool
is-
as one another. Yeah.
Exactly.
Zach,
So
Well,
what's the music like in Oklahoma?
yeah,
Right now there's nothing.
Yeah, well,
um,
but like
but
That's how
generally
LA is.
speaking,
like what's like popular
Um,
and stuff? Like what's playing like when you're walking down the street? Like,
um,
do they have live music on
yeah,
that?
they have
Like,
live music. I play it a lot. So right now I live in the arts district in Oklahoma City. I've been living here since July, and they do a monthly sort of, it's not a festival as much as just kind of like a gallery gathering, and there's always a live musician in the center of it there. There's a lot of folk and kind of like Americana music going on out here, but there's also a lot of, as far as I can tell, like rock and pop punk bands too.
cool.
I've heard of some DIY spaces, but I don't really go to those. I sort of stay in my nook. I really kind of like the vibe of everything going on here, so I stick around. But I catch wind of things, and there is a lot of indie music going on. I've befriended one guy who is in a really cool band called Mad Honey.
Mad Honey.
Yeah, and they're really good, and they do shows at like bars sometimes, and then there's a lot of venues to play, and they're all, it kind of, and I think it probably is similar to what we experienced. I think maybe what happened with Rock City in terms of the caliber of the shows that they put on, more like headlining acts versus local acts, probably happened at large, because we sort of went through a transformation in Ventura County when things started slowing down. Was kind of the tail end of us being kids, and we were doing the lot shows and we were doing the library shows, and so it kind of transformed the venue situation we were working with at the time, or at least for the bulk of the time. And I think it's very similar here. There's a lot of like, I've played shows at like bookstores and a pizza restaurant and art studios, so it's very different.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear the like what the scene is like in another city. And it's funny how usually it always tends to be sort of the same story, across sort of like the states, that there's sometimes there's like a central hub, but then a lot of the times it's like these random little spots we're just trying to cultivate, just sort of following. So that's really interesting.
Something cool that happened when I visited Zach in Oklahoma is when we ate at a restaurant, and we started talking to our waiter that's bringing us food, and we were like, oh yeah, like I'm from like Los Angeles area, and then we connected on music, and he's like, oh dude, I love Oh Sleeper, and I was like, I think I played a show with them, dude, and then he's like, no way, and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. And then I think that was actually one of my first shows with you guys with Pioneer Escape.
That is,
yeah.
Dude, that was the night of the edible.
Yeah.
That was the night. I think the Oh Sleeper show, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the show where I think I wasn't able to be at that show.
You weren't there.
Right? Yeah. And
I think I did a couple of songs on the mic.
Yeah, I heard that you filled in, which was great.
Yeah.
But I remember specifically you telling me the story about you having an edible.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Oh, wasn't you?
No, it wasn't me. It was a friend of ours. I won't name him, but
yeah, dude, that was a fun night.
Dude, he was hanging around in the back, and the lead singer of Oh Sleeper had like his kids on tour there, and they were running around the green room, and our friend was sitting on this chair, and he's like looking around, and I went and sat next to him, and he goes, yo, I think I'm freaking out because there are kids in here, and I don't think there are kids in here. And I was like, nah, dude, there's kids in here. And he was like, no, there's not. why would there be kids here right now?
What venue is that? What's that?
It was
White
White
Oak.
Oak Music and Arts.
White Oak, right? I do. God, that's right. That must have been that spot. I do remember smoking before one show there, and it was one of the times I did smoke before a show, and I realized that as much as I like smoking or getting high, I can't do it before a show because I just get too laggy and like. Whereas I know friends like my brother who openly smokes and gets high before every show he plays.
Really?
Oh, I don't know how he does it, but he does it perfectly, and he's real. And like nothing slows him down. He's just there doing his thing. But I'm like telling him, like, dude, I can't do like what you do before a show. I have to be post show. That's like my post show like relaxation. But
I'm behind that.
Yeah.
I feel like Omar and I watched this guy one time play a Fender Strat live at that what was that place called in Ventura that was like really tiny, like hole in the wall? They called it the Spot for a while. Ventura Music Factory.
Oh, the Factory. Yeah.
Yeah, the Factory. And Omar, I'm pretty sure Omar was with me, and this guy had like a cape on, and he was like, I just took acid. And then he played the most incredible guitar set I've ever seen at a local show in my life.
Yeah, dude, that was a
Do you remember that?
I do. I was talking to him before when he was like warming up, like he was chilling in the back corner with his guitar, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm on like I took some LSD," and we were like, "What?" Like, crazy.
Dude, it works for some people. Sometimes it
See who
works.
It is.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh my God! What is that?
What's up, Luis?
I can't hear anything. This guy is beautiful. I love the mustache. Hi, James.
Hey.
James.
Hello.
James.
You wanna switch with me?
I'll just go around.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, bring Luis in. Tell him to pull up the chair.
Wait, can you plug in my headphones?
Yeah.
Like do like a double duet thing.
Do you have a
splitter?
a converter for this into a small one?
Yes.
So Zach, how's the quarantine treating you over there in Oklahoma?
Dude, it's lonely as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna mince words. I got my cat, and that's cool. She's cool.
That's good.
But yeah. But other than that, I've been doing a lot of I've been the first couple weeks are pretty hard. But the last couple of days I've like fell into a routine. My job was very slow for a while.
Right.
And we were just kind of supporting and not doing any selling.
Right.
And so now I'm back to almost business as usual, but it's obviously very different. But it's something that I feel like I can structure a day around now. So I'm doing that, and that feels good. So I have that to kind of run my day around. I've been exercising again. I got a PS4, so that's
what
cool.
exercises are you doing?
Good.
I've been going on runs every couple days. I've been jump roping, doing yoga. Yeah. Some like kind of like push-ups and kettlebell circuits. What's up, homie? And I've been taking an online class in audio production because I never took a class in Logic, and that's what I've been using.
Really? So you're learning that right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good with Logic as it is, but I feel like I don't know much about it in depth. I just kind of have watched other people. Right. And I took a class in college on Pro Tools, and I actually recorded James for that class. And
oh yeah. Was that the Acoustic Wake?
That was.
That's right. I remember that. I remember going to
that.
We're talking about Wake earlier on in this episode.
I was saying about playing Escape. I said that was the first song I wrote the riff and most of the song, and I taught strangers at the time, Clifford, Richard, and Joey. No one knew each other. They're all strangers, and I brought them into the room together. None of them knew each other, and I taught them Wake, and then that was the first song we ever played. And the first song
is that because you wanted to do the band with Josh and he wanted to scream, and then you wanted to have then Trosh probably brought Clifford in, I'm assuming.
No, Josh wasn't a part of the band at first. It was I knew Josh because Josh and I were close friends. But the funny thing is, I barely knew Clifford, and Clifford and I were
I was telling Omar, I knew him because he was at Shaking Inside shows before he joined, and then
Always
I
in
was
his
like,
Letterman jacket.
yeah, yes, right. And then I knew he was a good guitarist. I knew he liked Under Oath. And one time we ran into each other at Ventura College, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to start a band together?" And he was like, "Yes." And then I told Joey,
I
I did
saw
not.
him do it in my head when
Yeah,
he
yep,
did that. It was like his face
yes,
going, "Yes."
yep, exactly. And then I didn't even know Joey played bass, and I already known Joey for a year. And he was like, "Oh, I play bass. I can play System of a Down." And I was like, "Why don't you come and jam with us?" And then Richard, I knew Richard from back in the day because we had a band Guns of August. And then I asked him, Richard was like, "I've been missing music. Yes, let me play drums." And then I threw all these guys in a room together, none of them knowing each other. And then we all played Wake, and that was it.
That's
and then
wild
Josh,
to me.
by the second show, Josh was in the band.
Yeah.
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 I did not know
That's
that.
crazy.
Yeah, that's the quick Cliff Note version of Plan Your Escape. And then
Clifford Note.
Hey, Luis, when did you first watch Plan Your Escape, like back in the day? 'Cause I remember like I think we met at a Plan Your Escape show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
probably,
used to
I
see
was
Luis
friend.
at
We
shows.
met before that.
Yeah,
I think
well,
you were
because
dating Sierra.
No, I met Sierra, I think the night that I met you.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I think it was the Plan Your Escape show in Rock City.
Yeah.
It was in
yeah,
Rock City.
because I met Luis through Linnea, because Linnea and I were dating, and Linnea was really good friends with Luis.
Do you remember the first day? I mean, it was a party. It was a house party that Linnea had at her house.
I remember. Yeah, I met Luis.
And this guy would start playing the jam. Everyone was like staring
That's
at him, just
right.
playing the drums. I was drunk as hell, just kind of like drumming out to my feet, and then it was like it was an awesome show.
I forgot about that. Yeah, we met at a house party, and I
Yeah.
knew Martine because Martine was doing tech for Beauty and the Beast at Santa Paula High School.
Yes, he was.
And then he was
Martine!
good old Martine. So
He
we
doesn't
met.
live in Ventura County anymore, does he?
No, but he wants to come back, and he should.
Where's he
should.
live, like
lives-
Oregon or
he's
something?
He's in Portland right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Dude, I'm
Yeah,
jealous. Omar and I went to Portland.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
up
for a
there
weekend.
last summer.
See,
But
if we all moved to Portland, like I think it will be a great, like like a great experience. But like if just one
Portland's
of us
pretty
leaves,
cool.
and
Portland's a
then
great
just,
city.
Yeah. If like one of us leaves and like we don't know anyone, like we'll be like, okay, it's all right.
Yeah, no, it's better with friends. But man, they have a great music scene. I know Martine's up there, but I have a few friends. I have a few friends who are in like the indie scene. It's popping.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was popping when we went clubbing, and then like there was like the music was just like all indie and like not even like like not even
Yeah.
Hey,
techno,
speaking
like
of Portland, did I tell you guys about how I got in touch with the singer of Portugal the Man?
I've been waiting for this story, and you got to tell it now.
Okay. This is wild. It was actually, was it earlier this month? No, it must have been February. Yeah, it was February. I went to watch Mr. Bungle in Los Angeles. I flew out there for a weekend, and I watched them at the Fonda. And then it was a Friday night, and then on that Sunday night, I flew home. And so I caught a layover in Dallas, and I was in my feelings because I'd be an emotional ass cancer bitch and shit. And
I feel
explain
that.
the mustache.
Cancer.
So yeah, cancer vibes. I'm hanging out at this airport trying not to look stupid, so I put my sunglasses on, and I'm sitting at this on like this pillar, and this girl walks by and she goes, "Hey, nice sweatshirt," and I was like, "Oh, thanks, appreciate it."
Nice.
And anyway, then we got on the plane eventually, and it turned out we were seated next to each other, and she goes, "Yo, I gotta take a picture with you," and I was like, "Why?"
Yes.
And she goes, "Well, because I know the lead singer of the band on your sweatshirt." And I was like, "Whoa, really? You know John Gourley?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, in my head, I was like, "No way." She pulls out her phone and she starts showing me like their like text messages. And I was like, I was like, "Okay, yeah, take my picture." So we took a selfie together, and then like 5 seconds of silence go by, and I didn't want to be this guy, but then I was like, what else am I gonna get this chance? So it's like, "Would you mind texting him one of my songs?" She goes, "Not at all. Text it to me." So she gave me her number, and I sent the song to her. And then I got back, and I'm pretty sure I got coronavirus when I got back to Oklahoma from that plane. because I was sick in bed for like 2 days. I had all the matching symptoms. I felt like I was gonna die. I understand why this shit kills old people. It was crazy. So
I know. I think I got it too in February.
really, yeah, I
yeah.
think it was in California in February.
If
It
you
was.
have an
It was at
old
least on the
soul-
airplane I was.
If you have an old soul, but you know you're young, does that count as like maybe like?
I think a part of me died, Luis.
If you're getting out part of me died.
No,
it
my
definitely died.
old soul died. My old
Oh,
soul died.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah. No, I had the worst sore throat. More pain I
Sore
could ever.
throat, the migraine.
Yeah.
I
So
couldn't get out of bed. I had such a bad migraine.
Yeah, I went to urgent care, and I mean,
Same.
it's the worst sore throat you could ever imagine. And I figured that they're strep throat, obviously strep throat. Go there, and this is a common thing that happens to a lot of COVID people.
Yes.
That they're like, nope, no strep throat. It's just red, and you're like, I can't swallow. It has to be. But so I do think I had it, and I had a friend, and it happened right after I met up with a friend who had traveled recently. So I'm pretty sure I did have it.
Oh,
in February.
wow.
Both me and
That's-
Kelsey got it. So I think we
Dude.
had it, which is nice, sort of nice to think of now we have
You're
it.
immune
We
now,
already had it.
probably.
Yeah, but I still,
You're in the coronavirus. Our friends.
I still have stuff to make sure,
Dude,
just in case.
I had that same thing. I went to the urgent care doc, and
They didn't know what it was.
Like, no, he was like texting me. He said, man, I don't even need to check your temperature. I can feel the heat coming off your back while I'm putting the stethoscope on here. And I was like, damn, I really felt like shit. And so he's like, I'm almost certain it's going to be strep or flu. So I'm ordering both tests. So they did all that crap.
Yep.
And anyway, it sucked. But he came back. He's like, I'm surprised you don't have either of those things, but you've definitely got something. There's scarring on your uvula right now.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, man, that's wild. He's like, yeah, so I've given you steroids. And I was
That's
still
what
out
I
of
got.
it. Yeah, I was out of it for a couple of days after that, and then I was back to normal. But
Yeah, same.
while I
You
was
bounced back.
recovering, I was laying down. I'm right where I am right now, and I hear my phone ding, and it's charging across the room. I'm like, oh, who in the hell at this hour? It was like 6 o'clock. And so I get up, I go grab my phone, and I open it. It's like, hey, man, my friend so-and-so sent me your song, and I wanted to say it was awesome. If you ever want to get into one of our shows, just let me know. And I was like, huh? Who? And then 5 seconds later, another text, John Gorley. And I was like, ah!
Unbelievable.
They kind of became.
That is a
friends with you
great
now.
story.
It was crazy, dude. I cannot believe it. I'm still in
Wow.
disbelief. Yeah.
Good for
I mean,
you, man. Talk
Yeah.
about networking at its finest.
Heck yeah, dude. You guys gonna play a tour together once this coronavirus gets cured?
I
Yeah,
hope
you gotta
so.
be that
I
opener.
want to go on tour with Portugal the Man and Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
You guys meet the cool people. I meet like the famous pop people. that's
That sounds like the cool people.
Well,
Yeah, that sounds cool.
They're not that cool. I mean, they are, but they're not. Okay. So I met like one of the. I was working in where she lives. She lives in Calabasas. No, I lie. Arguello Hills or somewhere like up in like Beverly Hills. Area, but like like in the mountains, and like so it was like one of the daughters of the Kardashians, the youngest ones. What was that?
Kylie?
What's the one
You met
that's like,
Kylie?
No, the one that's really skinny and like has like it's tall. It's just tall. She's
Oh,
taller than me, but I think she was.
Chloe,
Kendall
Chloe
Jenner?
or Courtney?
No.
Was it a Jenner?
She looked young. She looked young.
It was definitely Kylie.
Is Kylie the one? Isn't the one that one with the big?
Kylie's
boobs?
the youngest one. Did you say boobs?
Yeah, does she have big boobs? No.
They all do.
No. There's one that kept it because she's vegan. Like, cause she like. I learned
What?
this because- yeah. I learned this because I said like, oh, what are you guys eating? I'm like, oh, I'm eating fucking.
Oh, dude, is that Ryan?
Yeah.
What?
Shit. Last year.
Am I on
Kendall.
this shit?
Kendall, that's her name.
Yeah.
It's Kendall Jenner. Yeah.
Yeah. That one. So yeah, she's vegan.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I'm on
it's
this shit yet.
I was eating Megan's.
You're on. You're on.
Oh fuck, I'm on.
What's up?
What's up, bro?
Look at who it is.
Oh man, I need a White Claw now.
Who it is?
I know. I think I'm gonna get drink as well.
We having the White Claw hours now.
Have you guys fucked with now and laters?
I guess it's
No.
time.
Have we done what?
Have you fucked with now and laters?
No, I haven't. Oh,
Not
that
yet.
candy? Yeah, I've had those.
Bro, it's the move.
What kind of American would I be?
100%.
Thinking about vegan people, Ryan just tried to do a vegan fast for 21 days.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, it was a raw vegan thing. I did it for 4 days, dude. But I didn't plan correctly. Meaning I didn't prepare recipes or stock accordingly. You kind of really have to prepare for it, as in like look up recipes, plan your fucking days out. You can't just really like.
It takes more time than that. Let me tell you, because like you prepare recipes, but sometimes they don't turn out good. So you have to like repeat it 5 times and be like, okay, I know what I want. Like I'm like.
Yeah, so it
took a minute.
Yeah, it's like finding a balance. So like recipes and like shit you're familiar with, so you could keep on going, because it is a fucking while, man. It's what is it, like 3 weeks or so?
Did you do it?
Yeah.
Well, I did, but I only lasted like 2 days.
Like this is it. Cut it off.
That's it. But no, yeah, my ex she's vegan. Like, well, she was vegan. Now she's pescatarian, which is like she can eat.
She eats fish. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, like she couldn't even last, and she's like really into it. So like, it's just a matter of eating healthier, I guess. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, I eat like 98% vegan as it is.
Damn.
And it's.
Do you actually?
Yeah, I do.
That's fucking lit.
Like,
yeah, it's wild.
What do you cook?
I cook a lot of vegetables, like mixed vegetables. I like carrots, broccoli. I really love spinach and kale the most.
Okay.
Oh fuck yeah.
Do you ever?
Yeah. I do a lot of smoothies. I'll make like a spinach kale, protein powder, frozen berries, cashew butter, and like almond milk. Oh yeah, you're coming in with that alternative nut.
Yeah, no, it's lit.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I eat it. I'll eat it with my food. Like I'll get like a steak and then eat the vegan stuff. So that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Not steak, but chicken.
Yeah, Oreos are vegan, dog. You don't have to be healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, most beer and potato chips are vegan too.
White Claw's vegan. I'm pretty sure White Claw's vegan.
Bro, I usually have a beer, guys. Sorry.
Right now.
Like think cider. It's like ginger grass.
Bro,
hey,
mango,
Omar and I.
Hey.
Zach Chameleon. Mango cart.
Oh wait, Omar's gonna hate me,
Yeah, but it looks like in Arizona, and Omar and I have drank more Arizona than most people.
Yeah, dude.
I believe
remember
it.
one birthday party.
It's Golden Road Mango.
We drank
mango
a whole.
cart.
We had like a
It's
gallon
great,
of Arizona.
man. It's great.
I got a funny story.
I'm down to hear a funny story.
So, I think it was one of my birthday parties. We had like the gallon Arizona.
Oh.
And so, basically, like I was the only one drinking one of the flavors. And so, after I finished it all, I was like, I passed it around with a Sharpie, and I'm like, hey, like, mark how much you think my pee is gonna fill on this bottle.
Mark how big you think my PP is on this bottle.
Mark how much pee is gonna come out of me into this bottle. So then, like, I was basically like, that's on how much I could pee.
Amazing. How much did you pee?
Yeah, how much was it?
He didn't pee as much as you would think.
I think it was like a quarter of it. I think there's a picture of it somewhere. If I find it, I'll post it on this podcast.
He drank pretty much the whole friggin' thing. That's the best
That just
part.
proves
for you.
how dense Arizonas are. How much?
Straight up.
It's like drinking motor oil.
Yeah, dude, I don't drink that stuff anymore.
Yeah, but we used to. One of the jokes in Omar and I's first band together was that we were sponsored by Arizona because we would get like 16 packs of like the mid cans at Smart and Final, and we would kill them in like 2 days. It was incredible.
They were so good. It's so easy to kill them. It's like,
Bro, Fucking Monsters and Arizonas in middle school and high school were the
Yeah.
that was it.
That's like what kids do with that yerba mate now. They're like
Yeah.
drinking that guayaki
Funny
shit like
thing
it's
is, I
Arizona.
didn't drink that stuff back in the days, but like they give me this. They've been giving this to me at work, like Monsters and all this stuff. So like I can't say no because like I mean it's free. And, like,
It would be rude.
It would be rude to, but now I'm
Can't be
drinking.
rude.
Yeah, and it's just funny that's just reversed for me.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I used to be addicted to
Amazing.
Monster.
yeah. Omar
Yeah.
was addicted to Monster. He's
Dude, Omar,
from,
I've
like, a
watched you
far
go
away,
through so
like-
many phases of like having an individual like beverage or thing that you're into at the moment.
I'm not even kidding.
I
Monster-
remember the summer of
I'm not.
Monster because we went
Summer
to
Monster.
Do you remember at Warped Tour they used to have the Monster tent that you could
Oh,
go in, and every
Oh,
time you went in, they
dude.
gave you a fucking can of Monster?
I used to go to
came
that tent
up to
all the
me-
time.
I
Omar
took
came
full
up to me and
advantage of
was like-
that.
I remember that.
Dude, Omar would be like, "Hey, can you get your
Peace tea,
can
yeah.
and bring it to me if you like go back in?"
So
I
good.
was fiending afterwards. I was like, when they were like breaking down and like starting to like pack up Warped Tour, I went up to the Monster truck and I'm like, hey, can I have another one? And they're like, these are water. And I'm like, oh, can I have one anyways? And they're like, no, it's only for bands.
Yeah, those promo Monsters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is band water at the bottom of the
They all
can.
had it on stage. It was it's literally just water and Monster.
It's just water. It's straight up water. Branding,
Monster.
baby. I was like, damn, they're downing so much Monster during their set.
I was never a Monster guy, but I was definitely a Red Bull guy.
I was
really
a
like Red Bull.
Rockstar
I
guy.
did drink a Red Bull a couple times back in
I like the Juice Rockstars. It was like Juice.
Yeah.
and Rockstars.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the, like the
Yeah,
fruit
dude.
punch one they had.
Yeah,
I
those
love
are
that
sick.
Yeah.
guava one.
Dude, what was the
Right now.
silver can? Like the silver Monster can. That was my favorite.
That was like 0 calorie
one?
Monster.
Yeah, for some reason that one tasted like so good. It was like Sprite.
Yeah.
I downed that shit all the time. I loved it.
They have this new one called.
Now we're drinking White
Bang?
Claws.
No, I think it's Bang. And like, it's
Oh,
like,
bangs are in right now. They just got big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're supposed to be healthier.
They're what they are supposed to be is pre-workouts. They have like creatine in them. Yeah, it's
I've
like
heard that.
it's the kind of shit if you drink that it'll make your arms burn because you drink creatine.
Makes you
It makes
It
you
felt
itch.
good.
does.
It was so good.
I need
Yeah.
the hospital, guys.
It burns my ass.
It burns my
It burns my ass.
ass.
That's
Oh
all.
So,
my
what are y'all up to today, music-wise?
Well, I just finished right before I called into this. I just finished recording guitar for my friend who's doing a vaporwave Final Fantasy IX album.
Dope.
Yeah, because he's getting ready for the new release that's coming out in like 9 days.
Nice.
So
Wait, Final Fantasy. Oh, the remake.
yeah, the remake of 9, and
Or 7.
he's doing
I forget.
like 80 synthwave version of the soundtrack to it. And so he asked me to do guitar for one of the songs, so I just recorded it. Yeah.
Dope.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Do you guys
Are you
want to
guys-
hear it?
Are you guys
Yes.
playing the remake?
Let's
Are you
hear
guys
it.
gonna get it?
I probably won't. I stopped playing Final Fantasy after like 7, so I've been playing a lot of video games though.
What have you been playing?
A lot of GTA, Red Dead 2, Black
What do you
Ops.
play on? PS4?
Yeah, PS4.
Add me, bitch.
Ooh, I got you. Mine's easy to remember. You had me. It's Validad.
Oh, Dad.
I'll
God,
remember
classic. Classic.
Classic move.
track.
All right. Let me know if you all can hear it. I'm gonna put it through my monitors real quick.
Ooh, I'm excited right now. I like this.
All right, hold up.
Live?
No, disconnect the Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
Okay, hold up.
Are y'all faded or are y'all just sipping?
Oh, I'm pretty toasty.
Oh, cool.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm faded right now. This is a perfect time to
Yeah.
do
This is perfect. Yeah. I'm
All right, here we
chilling.
go.
I had a few glasses of wine earlier. you know.
Hey, yeah, I just finished a bottle of wine.
Good for you. There we go. Hey, see, we're on the same page here. Hell yeah.
Meant to be.
Meant to be.
I'm gonna try to
Oh, wait.
get to that.
Can you hear that?
Wait, can you start again? My bad.
Yeah. All right, I'll go when the guitar starts. Can you hear it?
Yeah, yeah.
I could hear it.
Alright,
Just yeah. Start that shit.
here we go.
Start that shit over.
No, I hear it. Have you guys ever heard of Stradivarius? Or is it Stradivarius?
No, I'm getting J-Rock vibes from that.
Yeah.
Same.
So I just had to do that section.
That was dope. That was tasty.
Yeah.
Tasty, baby.
It's very J-Rock.
It was that's actually the original track in the background. Actually, I have to email it to him right now. Are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Still
cool.
you.
I just
Yes.
All right, Ryan, what are you working on? I saw everyone's got to check out that new Everblack music video, though.
Bro, check it out if you haven't. It's my new
Yeah.
music video called Conjure. My project's called Everblack. It's one word. Check it out if you haven't, bro. Yeah, it's new shit, new sounds.
It's good. It's a dope sound. I love it. I guess.
Thanks,
There's
man.
so many vibes.
It's gonna be a variety. I have another one coming out in a month or a month and a half or so. It's gonna be a little heavier, for sure. I'm still screaming and shit. It's just like occasional.
Cool. I like it. It's a new sort of sound. I'm all about it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm just mixing like all the shit I like in music into one project. Like, I think that's the future of music. In the next decade, at least, is like mixing shit that hasn't been mixed before, and like new sounds are gonna be killing it, man. Like,
yeah.
people are getting bored of like some of like the shit that's going on that has been going on the past few years. Like, we've heard this shit, like it's been done before. Like, we just want some new shit.
I love it, dude. It's a new sound. I love it. When I first heard it, I was like, damn, this is I love your like just experimenting with the new sounds and sort of combining genres. And I definitely am like a huge like advocate for people to push their sound and make like new stuff. So it was fucking dope. I'm excited.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. No, yeah, dude, I feel like it's fun. Like it's new, you know? Like I just have fun creating new shit. Like unique shit.
Yeah,
Because it
people are
can't
creative,
it's
bro.
not existing already, and it can't be replicated exactly the same.
Gotta do your own thing. I like it.
Yeah. Bro,
Hell yeah.
what's the plan in your escape these days? What are you all doing?
Omar, you want to take this one?
Dude, I've been like hustling trying to sell merch, and then this COVID.
I've been seeing that.
We were planning on recording a music video actually like this month, but now we're not able to do that because of social distancing.
Current crazy
Yeah.
shit
We
going
have
on.
Fuck that bitch, Miss Rona.
I know. We have like a full production shoot. It's going to be really, really cool, but because of this, and we have a meeting tomorrow, but I think we're pushing it back, or I think it's going to be May, hopefully. That's where we're planned for a shoot in May, but we're sadly amazing. But yeah, that's sort of the stuff on the planet. We're just taking a few months to try to get this music video together, and then COVID happened, so we're sort of delayed. But that's sort of the news right there. Still pushing the new EP.
We should make another Plan Your Escape podcast.
We should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question too.
Yeah.
Why you guys should have a cat, like an animal in your plan.
We need another
Like this
turtle.
one?
Yeah.
Cute little kitty.
Yeah, you're all riding the turtle, and it'll be like the Plan Your Escape, like.
Kona.
Ah, shit, fucking hell. Sorry. Aw.
Yeah.
I couldn't even
Wait, James, you also have a solo project, correct?
I do. We just launched. Well, me and my I have a few. I have a lot of projects, but one of the most recent was me and my girlfriend. We've been talking about a dream pop project for like a year now, and we started writing about 6 months ago. And it just so happened like this time we kept it under wraps, and we were gonna announce it.
and like do a whole launch, and it just so happened it lined up with COVID. So like I ended up having extra time to mix, and then we launched our first song, and we were very surprised by how many people we got. So many messages from people how supportive they were and how much they loved it. So that's like a new project I'm working on now, and we got a lot of songs in the bank that we're going to come out with. We got a lot of people who are going to do photo shoots and music videos with us. We're fortunate enough to know a lot of booking agents here in LA who want to book us.
Damn,
So we're
hip-hop.
yeah, we're very excited to like get that going. So that'll, once the quarantine's over, we'll probably be like launching a whole like, well, it's very much a concept, like the whole live show and the aesthetics, the whole thing. So it's going to be a lot of like visuals that go along with the project. So we're really excited, and it's
That's dope as fuck. Wait, what's it called? I wanna look it up.
Yeah, it's called Miss Not Ma'am. Please check it out. It's like
dope.
if you like
It's really dope.
if you like indie dream pop stuff, it's gonna be right up your
Instagram you
alley.
guys,
So
Yeah.
Together?
what was it?
Is that Instagram you guys made together?
Yeah, that was it. And we've been as I said, that's been in the works for like 6 months. So
Yeah.
we're happy to
Now you
have
got
it.
time.
Oh, we got a lot of time. So every day
Yourself.
I got stuff to work on. And that's not even including planning your escape stuff. So it's which is not, it's cool though, but
Also, I'm starting a project with my friend Lauren. Omar, you know her, Lauren Tugas.
Cool. What are you guys
dope.
gonna do?
We're gonna
Yeah,
do
what
like
is it?
we're gonna do like spacey acoustic indie stuff.
Heck yeah.
I can't wait. Oh my God, I'm excited.
What
Dude,
makes
that
it
girl can sing.
spacey? What's gonna make it spacey?
Just kind of like very airy guitars.
Ooh, like ambient shit.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Wet reverb. Wet reverb.
You guys ever get song ideas in your dreams?
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, yes. And it's shit that I've never heard before too. It's really crazy. It's like full fucking arrangements, and then I'll wake up and like, oh fuck, what's that melody? Blah blah blah, and I'll forget it. But it's like full fucking arrangements that I've never like listened to here. Like I can remember it like right after I wake up sometimes. It's not like often, but when it is a thing, it's like, bro, it's full arrangements, like full,
That's so
full
amazing.
orchestral arrangements, and
That's inside
it's
of you.
like a specific sounds, like specific melodies that I've never heard before. And then
Do you try to like find that melody again? Are you trying to like
No, I haven't
chase
really
it?
like actively done it, but like I said, it's not often. It's pretty rare when that does happen. And like when it happens and I remember, it could maybe even happen more often and I just don't remember.
Or like you
But-
try to remember, but then you make something better, maybe.
I just haven't even tried to recreate it. There was one specific one that like really stood out, but I totally forgot it. But it was gold. It was fucking gold. I wish I did, but I
It's like that
didn't.
Tenacious D song with a tribute.
It's all right.
Do you, Omar? Because you came up with the question. I feel like you have some connections to that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. I get a lot of insights from my dreams. And
Fuck yeah.
Zach's in San Francisco now.
Oh no kidding. I think I can do that too.
We're doing it.
Hey guys, fuck
That used to be painted on Rock City, right?
What's that?
They used to be painted at Rock City.
Was it the Golden Gate that was
The
there?
Golden Gate.
I don't know. But anyways, yeah, dude, I get a lot of things from my dreams. I haven't I know I hear melodies and stuff in my dreams, but I don't know if I've ever been able to like retain them. It's more like
Or have you attempted to retain, or is it more just like fleeting? It's just like, oh yeah, it was there, but I don't know if I necessarily want to recreate it or keep it type thing. Like if the effort was even like put into, or if it was worth putting into.
you know, but I think I'm able to tap into like the music of my dreams is like making music when I'm sleepy, like when you're in that in-between state of like falling asleep and like being awake. I know, I just James right there.
Wait, you say making music, so
Yeah.
in the in-between state, like are you consciously creating, or is it more like you're channeling something and it's just coming to you and you're like perceiving it?
Well, like part of it is like I can hear like the music wants to go somewhere, so I just like figure out how to lead it there. And then the other part is like it's just easy to create when you're in that state. Like, you know how like in a dream like you could suddenly be somewhere else or like create another
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
object. Like you can do that with your music too. It's like
yeah.
It's dope. That's so dope. Luis, what are you up to? I know you've been working on
Yeah.
music.
I know. I just don't release it.
Gotta
yeah,
make music.
We just make a bunch of like beat. Like we've been making just like like I think we have. I can't even count how many beats we have.
dude, my hard drive is we're deep right now.
We have 2 like hard drives are like 2 terabytes and like they're pretty much like getting like almost full.
Damn.
And like yeah,
2
so
terabytes.
my
That's
neighbors.
huge.
We got like
That's a lot of fucking music, dude.
That is an insane amount.
Yeah, we
That
just
is
gotta,
days of
release
beats.
it. Yeah.
That is literally months of
They're good,
beats.
too. They're not
Yeah.
bad. I mean, they're just ideas that just spark and just like, you know,
Yeah.
just have like an idea and be like, okay, let's do it. And
Sometimes I'll like just like record for like 2 hours just playing guitar, and it's like
or we
it's like-
freestyle.
yeah, or like we'll just go back and forth, like put a loop on.
The other
go
day
for
we
hours.
did we put like we started doing the dictionary thing where like we put a beat on and like on the headphones and like it's just like I start throwing him words and like he has to freestyle to the words I throw to him or him to me or something like that. So that's kind of like a good like practice.
My old roommate
Yeah.
was the best at that.
Yeah.
That's a dope exercise.
And like, you know, it's fun, you know, you just come up with some like, you know, random and funny and, you know, sometimes like, oh, you know, that like goosebumps, like clever.
That's awesome.
So it's kinda
We I had an experience after an open mic at a stand-up event recently. So I've been doing stand-up comedy.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
this one guy came out and he was like, don't give me a word to rap about, give me a situation. And so somebody gave him a situation, like he had like a little person that was trying to put him inside of a suitcase and then took him to a CVS pharmacy
Yes.
to buy sunglasses, and
That's so specific.
he did the most beautiful rap about it. It was incredible.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So I stayed up until like 3 a.m. last night, just kind of like
Really
a
small.
song that we kind of like made in like
Well,
6 minutes or like 3 minutes, like me and my neighbor and like another friend, Soraya. And so I'm kind of like want to just release
Oh,
it.
shit.
I'm done. And I kind of did my part.
Is that
I overthink my part a lot, so I gotta just
One
gotta
more.
do it. But
What do you think?
Almost.
I want to do like a EP where it's just like me and Omar, and then like Omar have his 5 songs too. Like, you know, have like everyone has like the individual songs too, but also like have like the ones that kind of like are sound good together. Me and Omar have a good sound because like he can bring the melodies in, and I can just
I would love to hear that. Dream Dungeon, right?
yeah, just
Dream
like
Dungeon Records.
coming soon. I'll be like. Anyone's welcome to like draw in our garage or any type of art, paint, throw on some like glitter, whatever you want to do to it, you know.
That's right. I need to see your guys' garage. I haven't seen it since you guys were able to like convert it into your space.
You good?
Cool. I'll be there in 21 hours.
Yeah.
Cheap flights,
I'll
$20.
Yes, I'll buy it. But yeah.
Wait.
We've been working. It's a slow process, but you know, at the end it's gonna be like a big load. You know what I mean? That's what we want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The slower you go, the bigger the volcano eruption.
There we go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Guys, I'm gonna have to dip here in a second.
Okay.
Dippin' Dots.
Yeah.
It's like 11 o'clock for me, so I got to start winding down.
Yeah, I forgot.
Oh yeah, different time zone, motherfucker over here.
Central time, motherfucker, over here, hitting rhymes like a trucker, drinking beer.
Hey.
Yes.
Fuck that, just kidding, drinking White Claws, playing with my cat's paws. Holy shit, wait, hit the pause button, because you know that I'm hitting it like Benjamin Button. I'm going backwards, saying bye. The motherfuckers is just gonna cry when I leave. Peace out.
That's right.
Hey, Pete.
Right.
Yeah, you guys wanna end it here?
Yeah, I think this is great. So it's the first, your first, the great podcast.
Thanks. Actually, the
Episode
second
1.
Episode 2.
Is
Oh,
this
second.
first?
Yeah,
Second?
second. The greatest
This
podcast.
is my first.
The greatest podcast.
This is my
All right. Fuck yeah. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Thanks for
Okay.
having
dude.
thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for having me. I
Yeah.
feel like
James,
I always
Omar,
feel like in my
always a
house.
pleasure. Luis, nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. It's a pleasure talking to you boys. We'll see you guys around.
Love you
Stay
guys.
safe.
Stay creative.
Yes.
Yeah.